Hey, everybody, welcome to the May meeting for the Western North Carolina Linux Users Group out of Asheville, North Carolina. And today I'm going to be presenting briefly on creating a headless VirtualBox server so that you can run virtual machines on a different machine than, say, your daily driver, but still be able to access it from your daily driver conveniently. I discovered this when I had a machine that its video card stopped working reliably, so it needed to take some sort of role where it was just running a CLI. It had a ton of RAM, so working as a virtual host was a good role for it. Other than the fact that it's very starved for CPU power, but it's doing fine for what I do with it, which is usually one thing at a time. Um, One thing, sort of the theory behind this is um, I put off doing this. I kind of wanted to do this, but I just kind of figured it might be a hassle. Um, but here is sort of something that I took away from this, and something I kind of knew already. But there's almost always a tool for what you want to do, right? If you want to do something, it's usually a matter of searching out who has created this tool to do the thing that you want to do. And it's almost always less of a hassle to do it once you start doing it. So that thing you've been putting off trying to do, just go out and do it, because you probably won't find it that hard. And this was an exemplary case of this, because this came together much faster than I thought it was going to. In fact, I'll show you how quickly it comes together in this meeting. So I need to pop open this my notes here. You don't see that because you only see my thing. I'm curious, if I put something over this, does it block it? No? Okay, that's cool. All right. Okay, so what I have done is I didn't want to do this because I didn't have a good way of doing this, because I don't have like a KVM that I can show you other than through a phone or something. So I have installed Debian 12 in a base configuration on the machine. And when I say base configuration, I use the net installer, which is like a minimal installer, and I choose to only install SSH and systems utility. I don't install any GUI on it. So it's a very lean base install. And I'm going to go to that machine now. I did install a user as part of it, the base install, but that is just normal installer stuff. Nothing else has been done here. So we're going to, one thing I have done is I've removed the CD-ROM from Etsy app sources.list. So it's not going to be trying to install things from there. I'm going to, oops, I am not root. So let me do that. So I'm going to make sure that this thing is updated. Okay, it is. So we are running the most recent version of things, which you can see that this thing doesn't have a lot of, not consuming a lot of storage, and it's not consuming a lot of RAM, because it is a very light basic install with no extra goodies running. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download the Debian package for VirtualBox. So I have the link ready here. You can obviously search it up and then paste it in, which is essentially what I've done. So I have now received the Debian package, and I'm also going to I'm going to download the extension pack for the same version. Don't ask me what all the extension pack allows you to do. I forget, but I've installed it, so I'm going to install it again. Now I'm going to use apt to install the package I downloaded. So apt install, and what I just downloaded, it's going to install a lot of additional things as well. So this will take a little bit of time. I remember when downloading was the hard part. Not so much anymore. Any questions while this is going? Because this will take a little bit of time.
The package you downloaded for a VirtualBox, was that a deb package?
It is, yeah.
Okay. How come you didn't use dpackage to install it?
Um, I, I'm a little fuzzy on the difference between dpackage and apt. I know that there's differences in the way it handles, like, installing the dependencies and whether it'll just do it for you. I know with the way I did it, I didn't have to do anything extra. Ultimately, it's all happening the same way. No matter
Yeah.
how you interfere with package management, it's all the same. I would love to better understand the entirety of package management in both the Debian world and like the RPM world.
Right.
But I don't. I've only gotten as far as I've needed to go. I've never sort of like studied it
All right.
top down.
For sure. Anytime I have a deb package, I always use dpackage-i. It's a lot cleaner, I think, than apt.
I've done that before, and again, I think when I did it that way, I had to more manually, like I had to go back. It told me things weren't installed that I would then have to install. But if I did apt, it would just install them, which, I mean, I need these packages for it to work. So I don't take that as gospel, because we could run this all again. So
Oh no,
we
that's
could
fine.
certainly play with it.
No, that's fine. I just have several applications I run on my system daily, and when I upgrade them, I always use the dpackage-i option, and
Yeah,
it's
and I do that as well for certain things. Usually like just one-offs. But here I'm sort of installing an entire ecosystem that doesn't exist.
sure whatever works.
Yeah, whatever works. Yeah, I should look into that. That'd be a great presentation for another day, because package management is rather complex, and I don't feel like I understand all the commands. I just understand what I do well enough. So this seems to be hung at 66.
One of
Any
the
other?
other thing, yeah, one of the other things is it seems to be faster too. So that
Again, it shouldn't be. It should be doing all the same things, but maybe. Um, any other questions? It looks like we're starting to finish up here. So just to preview, next thing that I'm going to do is install the extension pack, which, again, don't ask me what all the extension pack does, because I don't know. I don't use VirtualBox to the fullest. I just install things. Historically, I've just run Windows boxes for testing, but I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to just do my things on it, and I don't even know what those things are going to be. But I'm gonna move to using work resources to do work things, because, for one, it's a lot easier to image things and keep them where they're imaged than try to download them home and put them on a different virtual ecosystem. So I'm just going to keep it all at work in Arizona instead of trying to use my own network for it. Nice thing about running it at home is okay, that is normal, that error. I don't know exactly what it means, but it is fine. It's happened every time. So like I said, I'm going to now, I have installed VirtualBox. So I have some VirtualBox commands. One of those commands is vbox manage, which you use for almost everything. And in this case, I am installing the extension pack that I downloaded. If everyone could mute themselves, we're getting, actually, I could just mute Geo, couldn't I? So I'm going to do that. Can I do that? Why can't I mute everyone else?
I don't know. You
Other
should
than
be
me?
able to. Pete, you're the one that's probably making the noise since you're not muted.
It's probably my fan. Let me see if I can figure out how to do that.
Just mute yourself. You'll be fine.
I muted Pete. So yeah, everyone else is muted. So that's fine. Okay, so now this is not free software, obviously, so I'm accepting their terms and conditions. So that is installed. And now there's just some other things I need to do, like add a user for VirtualBox for running the machines from. And I'm going to do that, which basically I'm adding a user without a shell, specifying a home directory and so forth. So that's that, and adding to the group vbox users. So that's done. I will assign a password. I'm just going to type this because why not? And I will put in a password. I may have gotten that right. Okay, good. And now I'm going to edit a file that will be used for VBox web, which is the way that this is accessed remotely is through a web UI. So I'm going to just add to that file a handful of things to make sure that it runs not just on localhost. And I will put in the password that I set, which I just should have left it as password, I guess, but this is not a super secret password by design. Oops. And just part of me can't use a completely insecure password for anything, even if it's going to be gone in a matter of minutes. So now we're going to restart the VBox web service. So I'm going to do that. So that should be running. So let's verify that with SS, which is netstat for a new generation. And that should be running on 18083. And there it is. Okay, so before we try to connect to this thing, let's get some virtual stuff to run on it. So we're going to need some ISOs for some things. So I'm going to download an ISO for, well, let's go to CD. Well, no, let's just download it here. So let's download TinyCore. Let's download, what else did I decide on? Antics, which I don't know anything about. I know some of y'all use it. And Kali Linux, which is great for security research. Well, it's not quite ready for me yet. All right, and just so we don't get stuck in the Linux world, let's get FreeBSD. All right, so now we have a bunch of options, and we're going to move those to where they're easily accessed when the time comes. So I'm going to make the directory home vbox ISO, and we're going to move all the ISOs that we just downloaded to there. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to on my home machine here. So this is the Debian machine. So I'm going to exit out of the Debian machine. And now I'm on my machine. So this is where I'm going to install the client. I'm going to download the client. I already have, so I'm going to pretend that I'm downloading it, just so I don't have to do things twice and delete them. I don't think that's going to cause a problem. So this is where I get RemoteBox from. You need to have a version that is compatible with the version of VirtualBox. This is the most up-to-date version of both VirtualBox and RemoteBox, at least as of a few days ago. And then that's obviously a tarball in compressed with bzip too. So to do that, you would do that, and it's going to just untar it. You don't need to install it in any way. So now I'm going to find my home keys apparently, and then, oh, where is this? Oh, it's still in downloads because I did this from a browser initially. So I'm going to cd to that directory, and all I need to do is go to run RemoteBox, specify a host, which I know the host is this guy, specify a username, and specify a password, no, -p, and then a password. Super secret password, and that should pop open RemoteBox. There are no virtual machines running, obviously, but we can very quickly change that. So let's create a new guest. All right, let's call this one, let's start with FreeBSD, why not? And we're going to go find the ISO image, but that's not how we do it. We need to, I forget how we do it. Okay, I forgot a step. All right, so we're going to go and actually get all those ISOs in here. So let's go to Virtual Media Manager, add, okay, home vbox. That's interesting. It doesn't seem to have permissions to its, all right, so something went slightly wrong. Let's see, what did I do different? Well, let's just kill out of here. Let's go back to our machine and see if maybe, okay, well, that should own that. Oh, CD. Oh, I'm not root anyway. So let's do that. I think I may have created this as root and therefore it doesn't have permission. Yeah, so that's the problem. So we need to Oh. It's been a while. Oh, that's wrong. I don't really need to do it recursively since it's just the one thing. Well, I could just do this, and that should work, right? What? Oh, users. Okay. That's probably going to solve the problem. I think, I hope. I think the last time I downloaded these or created the directory and downloaded these, it was within the user itself. So that's what I get for not testing out my entire script. Okay, so let's connect to this guy again. Now let's go to that virtual media manager. Don't get the error this time. Whoa, wait, what? Maybe I do. What? VBox. Huh, that's weird. This not running as the same user? Hmm. All right. I'm a little confused now. So one thing maybe is something's not running. All right, let's go back to that guy. I swear I walked through that part at least. Let's just enabled. All right, let's just do this. Let's restart, because why not? Because it's fast enough. Sorry about this.
I was going to suggest a restart, but you did it.
I mean, I know that's something that did happen at some point during this build last time, so. All right, how long do we think it's going to take? This guy does take a little while to boot, because it is hardware. All right, let's see if we, yeah, okay, good. All right, so, well, we probably don't even need to be in here. So let's go back and try that again. Oh, connection refused. So it's not downloading all the things. So let's go. Now let's try it one more time to see if we get lucky. Nope. Now, one thing I've discovered is I have off and on had to restart the VBox web service. I don't know if it's just fragile or there's something I don't understand going on there, but so let's do this. Okay. Okay, there's definitely stuff going on, so that's promising. So let's, oh, I'm still one layer too high. Okay. Let's see if we can get to this thing now. Connect. Oh, I'm already connected, sorry. I need to go to the virtual media manager and what? Verify the VirtualBox web server is running as the correct user. Well, let's go back to that. Maybe we screwed something up in that step of the process. Oh, wrong machine still. Okay, there. It's running as VBox. What did I'm forgetting Etsy default VirtualBox. Okay, Etsy default VirtualBox. VBox, password, host, timeout. Okay, this is what I was using before. Nothing ever works in the presentation. So let's think about this. We know we're connecting, so that can't be the problem.
We can't see where you're getting the error. Where are you getting the error?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I need to share that window now, don't I? Well, it's just as well because it's not been working. So the problems don't exist if you can't see them. So let me stop screen sharing and I will actually share my screen now because that's probably easier. The screen. Okay, so do you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, when I launch RemoteBox, this is what I get. And now what I'm trying to do is go to File, Virtual Media Manager. I'm trying to add stuff here, but it says verify the folder existence, permissions, ensure the VirtualBox web service is running as the correct user. And it's trying to access home VBox. You know, let me just see what happens if I go straight to VBox ISOs. Oh, that does work. Okay. I can fix the parent folder problem, but this is all I need to do, I think. So we're going to choose those. Oh, what? Oh, we're in the wrong segment. That's my fault. Need to go to optical discs. Now click add. Click all those. What? This thing is so confused. All right, so let's go back to here. Oops. And we want to look at the permissions of the home directory, VBox users. VBox users. So what is going on?
Yeah, it looks like your VBox users got read, write, execute.
Yeah.
So I don't understand it.
I mean, it is interesting that it's got broader permissions than a home directory should have, but that shouldn't break things.
No.
Think. What is going on here? what could I have done differently between?
Well, your assignment of ownership is correct and everything, so that was correct.
So I think maybe the way I created the user was different last time. I don't know, but VBox users should be fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Is
let's see.
does your VBox user a member of the group for running this?
That's a very good point. It should be. So VBox, let's see, groups, group.
Mhm.
I always do that wrong. So VBox users, it's not listed here. So why did it not do that?
Yeah, what group does it have to be a member of? I mean, what group does your VBox user have to be a member of? VBox users?
Yeah,
Where's VBox? I don't even see VBox here.
yeah, it should be here. All right.
I don't see it.
It 109. What is that? All right. So,
Yeah, I don't see VBox listed, Brent.
you know what? I don't think I created my user this way. I think I pulled this off of a script instead, but thinking that's how I did it the first time. I might have done it more manually.
Yeah.
So let's
Sounds
see.
like it's looking for a VBox user. It doesn't exist.
So I'm gonna. Well, there is a VBox user.
Oh, okay.
So that it's there.
Oh, there
And
you go. Yeah.
it does have a GID of 109, right? So
Right.
that should be that. It doesn't have VBox listed here, but then again, it doesn't have to because it's GID 109.
Right.
So what is, and I mean, obviously it has, well, let's just double check that because I can do that. Oh, actually I can't do that because it doesn't have a shell. No, it does. What? Oh, because okay, that's right. That's fine. So it won't go there because it doesn't have a shell. So I'm still root, right?
Yeah.
Still root. See,
Pounce on.
when I first did this, I did have a shell, so I could test things better. So I could fix that. See, troubleshooting.
Yep. Real world.
All right. Okay, now I'm that user. So let's go to, well, I mean, that should be my working directory, right? So
Yep.
if I go to ISOs, I should be able to touch something. So I have access as this file. So really the question is, why is this not using VBox? Something that should be using VBox is not using VBox. So what is that? It must be something in the VirtualBox. Oops. And I'm the only configuration that's there is there. And that does work.
Mm-hmm. That's your only config file?
That's the only thing that I remember configuring.
Yeah.
And let's say is the only thing. AUX. Brain is not working. My fingers are typing though. So I want to see what's running as what. VBox, running as VBox, running as VBox. Just do that, nothing additional. So that's all good. I swear this worked last time. All right, so we may have to abort. I mean, we're 90% of the way there. We just can't mount the media to make an install. Okay, so let's try this. Let's create a new guest. And we can't mount the media just yet, but let's make sure we can actually do that thing. So we're going to call this FreeBSD. We just won't mount a media just yet. At least I don't think we can. So let's do that. And this is going to be other Other unknown 64. Memory, let's give it 4 gigs. And let's give it, no, that's not going to be fun. Let's give it a 10 gig disk. All right, and we can create that hopefully. All right, so we now have a virtual machine. Doesn't have a disk because we haven't figured that out yet, but maybe we can do that here. Let's add an image and we can get to there. So that's promising. So maybe we can mount it here. So maybe some of this is working. So let's mount that here. Hey, that's promising. All right, so let's see if we can power on the guest. Oh, that opened over here, so I will move that. So we do have the installer now. So let's boot the installer. All right. And while that's starting to do stuff, let's create a new one. All right, so let's create a guest called, what else did I install? TinyCore. I don't think I did this in the test, so this very well could go poorly. Okay, we're gonna create it first because we've learned from our mistakes. We'll create it in the same, well, it doesn't need to be 50K. Oh, because this is Windows. Okay, so this is Linux. TinyCore is based on what? Does anyone know? Is it Debian?
I
Not
believe
that this,
so.
yeah,
Yeah, I
not
believe
that
so.
this matters like a ton, but we'll say it's based on Debian. And memory, 2 gigs should be fine. 20 gigs is for this thing is probably way overkill. We'll say 10 again. It's dynamically allocated, so it won't consume it. So we're going to create a new disk for it, create. And again, we're going to have to give it this storage, this CD. Wait, that's not where I went. Why am I swear, where did I do this last time? Oh, change optical disk. Okay, I just right clicked it. Whatever. Okay, so we want add optical disk image, go back to ISOs, and this one is tiny core, so we want tiny core, and we will power that guy on. And that also opens in here. So we're going to boot tiny core, and that's going to start that. We're going to just do an install over here, continue. Name, we're going to call this free BSD. No, that is not what I want to do. I'll just say okay. Okay. So it needs to, this is a network image, so it needs to be able to find the network. IPv4, DCP, yeah. No, that's all fine. Sure, guided route on ZFS. Proceed, why not? No redundancy, whatever. I don't know if I have to select anything here. Oh, okay. So it's been a very long time since I installed FreeBSD. So we'll select a mirror, that one, why not? Okay, so that is doing its thing. We've now booted Tiny Core. I assume there's a installer here somewhere. My mouse is not synced up, but we'll get by. Is there an installer for Tiny Core, or does it just run live? I don't know. We'll move on. So let's start another guy. So let's go do this one. Will be a little bit beefier. Kali. So we want to say that's definitely Debian. So that's Linux. Debian 12, 64-bit. Let's say this guy's going to need a little more RAM. 20 gigs, probably not enough, or if we install a lot of security tools, so we'll say 40. And we will create. And we're going to right click that guy, change the optical disk image to the Kali installer and power that guy on. come back, see the status of this guy. Oh, it wants a root password. So we will give it a root password. Okay, it wants a region, America, country. Let's go down to the end here, up to the United States, Eastern Shore. Yes, that looks reasonable. Time, date, the 3rd. Sure, 8:49. That doesn't sound right. 12:49 set. Okay, sure. Well, you know, I like NTP, so let's do that. We won't. What the heck? I don't know why that happened.
Just try asking you to add users to FreeBSD if you want to.
Oh, apparently you're not hearing my audio, but apparently it was reading stuff off of this screen, which is weird. Like it says 3 right now. I don't know what turned that on, but let's. I don't remember which one. Default is 20. So let's go with 20. Hmm. It's okay. Escape made it stop, but yeah, it was reading the entire screen. Hopefully, it won't do that for every screen, so it doesn't look like it's doing it for here. So user, we're going to say username Brent, full name Brent Knots, UID default, login group that. No, let's say no. No. Default shell sh sure home directory home Brent defaults encryption. No, why not? Password based encryption, yes. Empty password, no. Random password, sure. Lock out the account after creation, let's say no. All right, yes. Okay, passphrase for encryption, we'll just go with, really doesn't matter since I will not be using this machine. Nope. All right, so exit. No. Reboot. Okay. So this may still try to go to the installer because the way we mounted the drive, but we can unmount that. Okay, so this is now going to boot to FreeBSD. So that install is essentially done. So let's go back here. And again, I don't know why it's reading my screen out. If anyone knows what turns that on and what can turn it off, this is going to make my life a lot easier. I'm going to specify the default.
I haven't used Kali in a long time, so I can't tell you.
Okay, default. I can hit escape and it stops talking. It stops talking to me. Stop. Every time it says something, it says 40%, 50%. To be fair, I could have done this last time, but I didn't have a headset. It's so annoying. Okay. So now it wants a host name. So
I don't think Kali has accessibility turned on by default, so I don't understand why.
It may have been some stray click I made or something, but it's fine. So We will just make a user. Um, okay, and while that is kicking off, okay, well, it wants me to do the partitioning. There's got to be a way to change the. Okay, so I can mute that, right? And that should make it go away. Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's making a lot less noise. So we got FreeBSD installed. Now we are on the way of installing Kali. So we downloaded one more thing. So let's go ahead and run antics. All right. And we can't do the ISO image that way, but that's fine. I don't know exactly what it's based on. I'll just say Debian. And RAM, no, I want to give it more than 2.02. We'll give it 3 because why not? And 20 gigs, probably fine for a base install. So I'm just going to say create.
Antics is based on Debian.
Okay.
Yeah, I use it.
All right. So we're going to change the optical disk, add an optical disk image, go find it. Again, I really don't know why my media manager is not working, but we got by. So we're good. So antics. All right. And we will power that on. And now we have this. So I think we just want to do this. I ran through this installer, or at least started this installer as I tested this last time, but I don't remember anything about it. I recall it was very different than other installers I had run. So, all right. This is still working on installing the base system for Kali. So we'll come back to that. Okay, so for command line install, login as root and CLI installer, we can do that. Root CLI installer. Do we want to partition the disk? Sure. GPT sounds good. So is there no way to say do it for me? Because we could just do it that way. Or do we need to, let's delete that. Let's say new, we want some swap. So let's go to gigs, type swap. And, or do we, experts, let me know if I'm doing something wrong. All right, so let's see. We need to go free space, new, 18 gigs. Linux file system's fine. So let's go to write. Yes. How do I quit? Quit. Root partition, SDA2, etc. SDA2. What do you mean invalid? It's not invalid. Did I need to do something to it? Why is this unhappy with me? Any idea?
No. I use MX, which is based on Antix and Debian, but I know that Antix is based on Debian. I don't use this kind of installer, so that's
All right, let's start over.
this
We're
looks,
learning.
this all looks like FDisk.
Okay. Well, it is a lot like FDisk, but
Yeah.
I'm very confident how to use disk. I just don't know what it wants. So I'm going to say, let's create an 18 gig, and then let's
Type.
let's create a 2 type swap. You always should have some swap, right?
Yeah.
It's not add format or anything, right? Yes. Quit. SDA1. Root partition. Huh. Oh, wait. Resize type help. Huh. No, that doesn't make sense. One more time before we give up. Disk. New. Let's go. Let's make it all one. Linux file system. Resize. Quit. Type. I mean, it's type Linux file system. That's what we.
Yeah.
Oh, Linux root. We can say Linux root.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so maybe that's what it wanted. Right? Yes. Quit. SDA1. I don't know what you want from me, man. Okay, we've decided we don't like Antix. It doesn't get to stay in the group. But as you can see, we've now installed, or at least are running 4 different operating systems, and within a period of an hour, and that included a fair amount of fumbling over something we didn't need to fumble over. So this, is a very useful thing. Now, of course, I can blow all these away, start fresh, do whatever I want to do. I can clone them. I can. That's the beauty of virtual machines is flexibility. Again, this is not the fastest machine, so I can't really run 4 OSs practically all at once, but I certainly can use down them, bring them up, use them for testing various things. And do as I please. So any question about this process or the software or anything in regard to this?
Yeah, remote box. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's basically just for this. It uses that VBox web, which I would assume there is some sort of basic web. Well, let's try it. Let's just let's bring up my browser. And let's see if we can go to that port. I think it's HTTPS, but we'll find out very soon. 168.225.52 port 1083. Let's see if it does something. That's not promising. Let's try HTTP. Oh, it's okay. So it doesn't look like it has an actual website that you can access. No, like
right.
web GUI, but it does. This is the interface, so you do need some sort of web client, which is what RemoteBox is. What else?
So that was the XML file for SOAP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that gives some insight as to how this works.
Right.
As you can see, it does bring up a remote desktop display when you pop one of these guys open. And control virtual machines in most ways. You can change their settings. There's only certain settings you can change while running, however. So let's take one of these guys down.
So I guess my question, Brent, sorry for interrupting you, but is if you didn't go to a website, how did you download RemoteBox? How did you get it?
I went to a website and got the link, and then I showed you like how to get it here.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, and it's a very basic piece of so I do think it has some dependencies, so you may have to run your package manager and get those dependencies. I don't know what they are because I have them already installed on my machine. I'm not starting from scratch on this machine, obviously.
Yeah,
But yeah, if you download whatever it needs to make it happy, it's like they tell you what it is, and once you've installed those things, I think it's some Perl modules or something.
okay.
But it's not hard.
I was thinking about playing with it, but I'm running MX Linux and it's a Debian-based system, so you know how stable Debian is. So not a lot of things are in their repos.
Yeah, this is not the RemoteBox isn't in the repo, but all the things RemoteBox needs are in the repos. So
Okay.
I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to install foreign repos or anything odd to make this work. I just said, okay, this is this package, and once it stopped complaining about things it didn't have, it started working.
Got it.
All right, so this has halted, so we are going to RemoteBox. We're going to power it down. Instant power off, because why not? Because it's already off. So now that it's off, we can change its settings. We can say you can have less RAM. That's such a bizarre way to like decrement RAM, is by hundreds. Seriously. And maybe we could add a hard drive to you. Let's do that. Let's add a hard drive. No, it's not, because I don't know how to do stuff like that in FreeBSD as well as I know how to do it elsewhere. So let's not do that. Let's just say save. Okay, so we've given it less RAM. We could power it back on, but we don't need to because we don't care. Antics we gave up on, so we're just gonna make that go away. So
How much
stop.
RAM do you have on your system? Base
And
system.
this virtual machine has 32 gigs.
Okay, yeah.
Which actually I think you can view. Yeah, here you go. Server memory is here.
Okay.
I mean, the client machine I'm running for, I think, has 16 gigs. Not that it really matters, because this is where the power comes from.
Sure.
So I've powered off Antics, and we're gonna make it go away. We're just delete you. So I think we can delete you here. How do we delete you? Machine, remove. Okay. Delete all files. We want you gone. We're sick of you. All right, so that's gone now. So let's go to Kali, and we're going to, we'll need to power it. Well, Kali's not done, but Tiny Core, let's go to Tiny Core and let's see what it's up to. I think not much. It actually has a GUI. Again, this is like a live CD, so, but we don't care. So we're gonna just find some things sync the cursor well, some don't. I forget how to do that. I think there is some way to make the cursor sync better. One is running like the virtual VirtualBox tools, but this obviously is not doing that yet. So I'm
Well, you
going
install
to.
the extended pack, so it should.
Well, I mean, the OS, the guest can
Oh,
install the
got it.
VirtualBox tool. So I'm
Gotcha.
going to do that. So it's now shut down. We may have to refresh to see that it's powered off. And we're going to go to settings, and we can give it a new hard drive, because why not? So let's add a SATA hard drive. And no, we don't want a controller. We want a drive. Yeah. Okay. So hard disk, new hard disk. and it doesn't need to be particularly big. Well, 8 gigs, why not? Create. So now it has another disk. So I think I probably could have done that with this thing booted. Most times you can. But no idea to do things when things are powered off. This is something I have to do at work every once in a while, is extend the drive on something, or add a new drive. So I'm going to boot this guy. And never really, I think I've used TinyCore at some time in the distant past, but it's been a while. So let's go to the terminal and let's go to fdisk. Okay, so we've run fdisk. That's going to create a DOS disk label. I'm not too worried about it. I'm just going to go old school in this guy, and we're going to just create a new partition. Because notice that this is the disk that we just created. So magically we have a disk because of the magic of virtual machines. So new primary partition 1, first sector will accept the defaults to consume the entire disk, and W to write the partition, and then we can make what is it? Make fs.ext4 dev sdb1. What? Think. Oh, wait. Think. I think. Again, I'm not familiar with SDB1. There is an SDB1. Well,
it's saying no such device. I see it.
Yeah, no such device for address. I think it may be like a sync thing. If I restarted the OS, I would see it, but let's see. Usually I don't have to do this at this point. Again, what is that command to rescan the SCSI? Rescan SCSI bus. It's this one. I'm making some assumptions because this is a very basic OS. Where'd my screen go, man?
I don't understand
fighting
why
my mouse.
I don't understand why your mice things there are not synced up.
All right. Yeah, that happens a lot in the virtual world, but usually it's you have software running that makes it happy, but we don't have that running. If I were running like a real like GUI under here that I wanted to work with regularly, I would have the tools in there. Okay, so what? Oh, wow. The answer was right in front of me the entire time. I'm not root. Password. Nope. Bad salt. What?
Root. There's no password set up for root in this system.
Well, can I do sudo? Is that set up on here? It is. Yeah. Okay. So how?
PASSWD root, and that should let you do that.
So why would it let me do fdisk? Did it let me do fdisk? Maybe it didn't let me do fdisk.
No, it didn't.
All right. No, it's there. It is absolutely there. As you do, make. I don't need to get to this level with it. I am just playing at this point.
Yeah.
What is it? ext4.
Mm-hmm.
Dev sdb1.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I don't know what's going on here because I don't use this OS, but I have a new disk that I theoretically could do things to. Mount tool. Maybe this will let me do something. No, that won't let me do much of anything. What else is on here?
I've never used TinyCore, and I don't want to use it. Looking at this, I just know it's based on Debian.
Yeah, it is extremely tiny. So it has certain advantages in that respect, but I'm not comfortable with the tools in it. So did this finish elsewhere? So I was just killing time, really. Do we need to use the next HTTP proxy? Blank for none. Downloading a file. Wait, what? Mirror, what? Default mirror. Change mirror. Okay, I don't know why this isn't working either, but it should have networking. Select and install software. Okay. Well, I don't want to get too far in the weeds on this. Deluxe desktop environment, collection of tools.
Hey,
All right.
Brent, Gene's got his hand up. He wants to ask a question.
Hey, Gene, what's up? You're muted, Gene. Still muted. Oh. I see your comment from earlier that I missed. Could it have been when you CH owned? Maybe. I will have to come back to that, see what I did wrong, because obviously something went wrong with that image mounting thing, but we worked around it. Did you want to type your current question in the chat as well? I don't know why you can't unmute. We have no control over you unmuting. We can only mute you. I'm going to ask to unmute, and maybe that will give you a button that will just magically work. I doubt it. You're still showing as muted. It's going to be one of those Jitsi days.
Yeah, I don't know why he's muted either. That's odd.
Mine's working.
All right. Well, that's pretty much it. I mean, we can install software all day long. Obviously, virtual is a great way to demonstrate installs of things. That wasn't really the point of this exercise. It was just to set up the virtual thing and see how quickly you can get going potentially on an extra machine. It did take a little bit longer to actually install Debian on here. And that's part of the reason I didn't include that part, but I think all of us have installed an OS on a machine and know that that does take some time to read it off the to the USB, which is generally not the fastest storage in the world. But yeah, it's I would say if someone is interested in creating something like this, I just had a box laying around. It is not ideal because while I would say the most important thing is RAM. You got to have plenty of RAM because you're not going to be able to do more than one thing at a time, without lots of RAM. But CPU is the next important thing, and of course, no one should be running anything not on SSD. So any SSD should be more than adequately fast storage, and of course, you need adequate storage for the different OSs that you do have. Although you do tend to save some space because if I define a 20 gig volume, it should not be consuming 20 gig on the disk. In fact, let's go look at that and see what these things are doing. So let's go to, am I logged in? Okay, I'm not logged in. So let me get logged in again. And let's go to here. And I did, also let's SU to this. So we go to VirtualBox VMs, and you'll see that there are several there. And I forget what I gave to each of these, but as you can see, they consume what they need, which in this case, it looks like it is, what is that? A gig plus, took 2 gigs at this point. So not what I assigned it, but only what it needs. Let's just do this. FreeBSD, forget how big I said that was going to be either, but again, not consuming a ton of space, but it will be allowed to expand to the size of the disk.
You did a dynamic allocation on all of them, so it should. What? Yeah.
And that will save you some resources. But of course, if you do want to fill up those disks, you will take the entirety of the disk space. There's no native compression or anything, but you only consume what you're actually consuming. So since it's asking, I'm going to take the default and install the bootloader to my primary drive, accept the manual defaults. Apparently I have to actually specify it, which is probably good, given that it's writing to a drive. So that is being done. Any other questions before I shut down the screen share?
Yeah. Do you use this remote box?
I don't.
Okay.
Everything at work is VMware.
So you, in other words, if you wanted to add another drive, you would use a logical volume manager. You wouldn't use virtualization, obviously.
Well, we so at work we have a large virtual environment, and it runs on like ESX,
Oh,
and
okay.
which is kind of a Linux, I'm sure. And it we have quite a few machines, and they have just a ridiculous amount of RAM and disk resources and so forth. And like an external disk array, not native disk to each machine. And we can create machines pretty much whenever, and destroy them and whatever. And if I need more drive space, obviously, I need a lot of drive space, I have to ask. But if I need a new drive, I just say create a new virtual drive, and
Right.
I have various options of various classes of storage that I can select. And if I need it to be faster, I can go a particular place. If it's a non-production, it would go in a particular space, and different backup schedules for the different classes of storage. And I create it and then mount it, and I format it, and I create, I connect it, I partition, and I format it and I mount it. Or in some cases, if I need a drive to be bigger, I can go through a process, which is probably not something we should do today, but I can extend the storage in the virtual world, in the physical world, which is still virtualized. There's so many
Right.
layers of virtualization. But I can make the storage bigger, and then I can make the OS see it as bigger, which is a bit of a process. In Linux, at least it's a bit of a process because I'm doing everything CLI. Most you can run what is it called? The GUI tool. Um, the GUI tool for expanding disks. You can run. Okay, so this saying it's now ready. So let's hit enter, and it should actually boot to Kali Linux.
Yeah. So what you're doing basically at work is kind of like creating space using like a digital ocean droplet or an Akamai Cloud Linode or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, except for we run the hardware. Yeah, it's
Yeah. Right.
the way I interfere with it. I mean, once upon a time, I had some involvement in the hardware and the networking and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's just I just deal with the you know spinning up the virtual machines, and
Yeah.
then I deal with them as if they were just computers at that point. So
Yeah.
now
But yep.
I
Go
do
ahead.
have a booted machine over here, so that is complete. So we got 3 machines out of 4 working.
I just want to make sure you weren't using something like Proxmox or you were using ESX. You said.
Yeah, it's a fairly typical virtual environment that you'd find in any sort of corporate world.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Let me kill my screen share and turn my camera back on. So, who do we still have here? I managed to not bore too many of y'all, it appears. All right. I don't know what happened to Gene. Hopefully Gene will be back.
Yeah. Gene disconnected for some reason. I think he was trying to fix his problem.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have what time is it? We have 30 minutes
127.
to go around the room, so I don't think any of us can be too verbose. Yeah, I presented, so I'll be very quick and say that most of my time in Linux is based around music stuff, or I shouldn't say that because I'm not talented enough to make anything musical, but I can make bleeps and bloops and weird sounds. And one thing that I've been delving into a bit is FM synthesis, which when I started in my interest in synthesizers, I kind of avoided because I associate FM synthesis with the sounds of the 80s, which is not my preferred aesthetic when it comes to music. But after learning what FM synthesis is about, it's fascinating, and I've been having fun creating weird sounds in that realm with there's a tool called DexEd, which is basically a DX7 emulation on the computer, and you can basically create anything from the Taco Bell sound, which is just a straight up DX7 patch playing an E in a particular octave, which is it's funny because you hit it and it's like, wow, that's 100% the Taco Bell sound. Yeah, or very musical sounds that reminiscent of the 80s and otherwise. So that's what I've been doing. And Dan, what have you been up to?
Well, first of all, thank you for the presentation, Brent. Appreciate it. I learned something today. I've been working with, speaking of music, working with my AI, composing music, and I put a couple of things back up on the platform, compositions that I created using AI. And so I've been messing around with that at Suno AI. One of the other things that I've been working with this month, I've been looking at something called a better lock screen software, and I've got that set up on my system for MX Linux, where I've got the lock screen now. Whenever it auto locks after 30 minutes, instead of going to a black screen, or it deflects away from what the system normally uses and goes to better lock screen. And I can demo that at some point in the future. It shows me a wallpaper that I have set up, and it has a timer, or not a timer, but a clock on the face of it, which is really nice. So I've been working with that. And let's see, what else have I been working with? Something I want to do in a future presentation, Brent, if it's okay, maybe next month. There's something called Casa OS, and I'm working with that. It's a Linux-based personal cloud, and so if I could do that, if it's okay with you, I'll set that up. I've got it set up now, and I'm going to add another drive to it. And when I get it finalized, then I'll do a presentation. That's okay with everybody. Pretty much that's all I've been working with. So I'll pass it on to somebody else.
One quick question about the lock screen. One thing I've noticed with X screensaver, which is sort of the screensaver that seems to be default with everything, is it while it blanks the screen or goes to like some sort of image, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you come back to it and unlock it, it often flashes the last state of the screen, which has always pestered me from a security standpoint, that it's not that you can access like what somebody was doing. It's only a static image. It's only a point in time, but it's a quick flash. But if you took a picture of it or a video or something, you would have the contents of the screen when it was locked.
Yeah,
Has anyone else experienced that? And has it rubbed anyone else the wrong way? Because it certainly does me.
I have not.
Yeah, it'd be
Better lock
interesting to
screen
know if,
doesn't do
yeah,
that.
I would hope not, because it's yeah, it always struck me as like, well, I mean, I don't run Linux machines in a work capacity where it would be a problem. So it's never been like something that I'm like, I have to fix this problem, but it's like that to me, that's a problem.
Oh yeah.
Santiago,
Hello, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, good. I was just making sure. I just want to say real quick, I thought the presentation was very interesting. I enjoyed it. But regarding Linux, what I've been doing, I haven't really been doing too much on that because I've been running back and forth with so many things. Like I just haven't had the time to sit down and do anything. But I have been starting to get into more of learning more about Linux the last few days. Now that I've had a little bit of time to just sit down and relax on it. And I'm learning other stuff like commands and, just the basic, stuff I already know, but I want to refresh my mind with through a Udemy course that I started around, I think maybe around a few years ago. But yeah, I've just been trying to get back into it, and I've been enjoying what I've been learning so far, of commands and learning about, like shortcuts and stuff like that all through the command prompt. But yeah, other than from that, I mean, I haven't really been doing too much, like I've said, because I've just been going back and forth with so many things. But I do hope to get more time to learn some of that, more of that stuff. But yeah, that's basically, I guess, what I've been really been doing the last couple months, probably since I've actually been on here.
All right. Well, thanks for that. Larry. Larry, you are muted if you're talking.
Can you hear me now?
Sure
Yes.
can.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks for the presentation. That was interesting. I don't really have enough RAM to run VirtualBox or anything like that, so it's interesting to see how it goes there. Obviously, I don't really have anything new to say, but I might chime in later. But so I'll just, since we're short of time anyway, I just let everybody else take the time. But anyway, thanks for listening to me, and thanks for your presentation.
Oh, thanks, Larry. Alan?
Don't have a whole lot to add today, other than I shot myself in the foot using a Raspberry Pi. My problem was that I updated some software, and I was using the Raspberry config. That's the command line configurator. On it, the Raspberry is located remotely where I can't get to it. So I was trying to update this thing over the internet, and I clicked on changing the network application from Dynamic Host Control Protocol daemon to the recommended network manager, and rebooted the Raspberry and lost connectivity. And now, after further research, it advises to only do this when you have fast physical access. So I've lost that, and I'm going to have to wait till I can get to the remote site, which may be some time to fix it. Anyway, that's been doing other things other than computers, but that's what I've been up to. Brent?
Yeah, Alan, I kind of feel for you there because I am so accustomed to having access to virtual things that when something is physical, you tend to forget how careful you have to be, especially, I mean, stuff I'm interacting with is often it's almost always in Arizona, and sometimes it's in a data center that we don't have personnel at. So if it is an actual physical thing that I'm configuring, which is rare these days, I do need to take that extra care because if I change the networking in something virtual, I just change it back. I go to the console, which I have access to, and I just change it back. But if it's remote and I change the networking, and it's broken until somebody can get there. Remote consoles notwithstanding, but that's not always an option.
Well, there was no warning that this could happen, so I only subsequently discovered that that could be a problem, and it is.
Well, sorry to hear that. Hope you get your access back.
Thanks.
Gene, are you functional?
I think so. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
It's been a day. So don't have a whole lot that I feel comfortable with admitting today, but I will admit that watching or listening to Brent's flying fingers in that presentation was like me cruising along in a T model watching a Formula One racer go by.
Yep. Good point.
Well, I gleaned most of the stuff from you, but I'm going to have to go back and watch the video replay on slow mo to be able to do half of that stuff. It would have taken what you did in an hour or so would have taken me a month probably. So, kudos to you, Brent.
Well, I'm going to paste into the chat the sort of my cheat sheet I was going from. Okay. Obviously, there's some IPs in there that don't apply. I'm going to burn it all down, so it really doesn't matter. But yeah, one of the reasons is I was copying and pasting through the first part of it because I had walked through this before and made sure it worked, although apparently not absolutely everything.
Well, it's just obvious I need to work on my typing skills. But
My typing skills have gotten much poorer as I've aged. I don't know what's going on, but like I try to move my fingers fast, but they don't go the right places.
well, add another 15 or 20 to that, and you've got me probably. I don't think I was ever that fast. But let's see. I did have some problems, uh, but some of them were self-inflicted. Um, and I am now voting against Snap um, for Ubuntu. They've gone to Snap packages, which is like Flatpak, only worse. Um, but the problem that I had was Thunderbird, which I've been using for years and years. And, it's not the greatest Outlook look-alike, but it works. It's always worked. But the Snap package that I had when I went to restore my backup did not restore. So I spent quite a while trying to, and I don't know, does anybody else use an Ubuntu based with Snap on Firefox and Thunderbird, which are the ones I use. They also have a Snap package for Brave, Dan, if you ever get that Brave. But
Hate Snap.
yeah. Well, I've come to hate it, and I don't know the reasons that you hate it. My reason is that I couldn't restore my what they call a profile in into a reinstall of the Linux. And before, I had backed up everything and then restored it, and everything just worked. But this time, Snap didn't work, so I can figure that down the line, Firefox might not work, or one of the other Snap packages that they have might not work. So on my newest machine, I just went to the Debian package of Thunderbird and Firefox, and I don't use Brave that much, so I didn't really install it. I may install it at some later date. The browsers that I typically use are Opera and Vivaldi, and I have them kind of dedicated to their own little sandboxes, and I use the Debian version of those as well. Opera and Vivaldi are both available as Snap packages, but there again, I don't use them. So anyway, that's about it for me. There were some other things that blew up during my reboot. There again, self-inflicted reboot of my newest computer. But it all went as smoothly as possible, except for that one disaster. So that's pretty much it, Brent. I'll hand it back to you.
Yeah, Jane, just wanted to say I don't use Snap because of stability issues. And I usually use Deb, but I've now gone to Flatpak for most stuff.
Well, I'd never had, I don't know how to define stability issues. I've never really had what I would consider that. The other thing that I did was to change wireless companies. And I went from AT&T, which was charging me an arm and a leg, to Visible, which only charges you a hand. So it's a lot cheaper. Supposedly, I'm getting unlimited talk, text, and data. There again, of course, AT&T says they're unlimited, but then pretty soon you run into the throttling. And So I haven't run into that because I frankly don't use that much data on my cell phone. But I would be interested in anybody else's cell phone experiences if they've had anything to compare with. So far, Visible seems to be working fine. The only thing was that I'd gotten used to using Wi-Fi calling, so that you don't use so much. But I can't find a way to turn on Wi-Fi calling in Visible, and I got with what I thought was their tech support, and something weird happened, and I'm not sure that I wasn't hacked. So anyway, nobody call me, okay? I don't trust my phone now. I've got it in the refrigerator. What, Dan?
Not so sure I want to use Visible.
No. I don't think it's their fault. There again, everything I've done lately has been self-inflicted, I'm afraid.
Oh, okay. All right.
So,
So are we sure that we're talking to Gene and not the AI
Listen, nobody could come up with this
recreation?
avatar, I want to tell you.
AI generated gene.
Really, yeah. Maybe I'm not the gene you think I am. Maybe I'm just a chromosome.
That's a good one.
At least you're not a dinosaur.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think I probably have dinosaur DNA. Pete.
Okay.
Okay, Pete.
Yes, I just use my Mint 21 machine and it works, and I don't update it, and I'm very happy. But I did have a really interesting visitor come down from my mountaintop a couple weeks ago. She quit her job at FedEx, went back to school for 2 months, got a license as a commercial drone operator, came down with her $3,500 drone and put it on the end of my driveway, raised it up 3 feet, marked it as home, went up above my roof. My roof isn't really 300 feet, pointed the camera the half a mile away to the beach. We could watch people walking their dogs along the beach, see the water rolling in. It just blew my mind. And she started her own company, and it's going to be to help people check things like their roof, or places where you can't get to physically. She can fly her drone and find out what kind of shape it's in. And so she just finished her certification, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, and she's just starting out offering her services. The capability of this drone was absolutely mind-blowing. The reason they have to get a commercial drone license is, one, because she's going to be making money flying a drone. Number two, she has to be able to read airport maps and no-fly zones. Down here, we are halfway between Mayport Naval Station and to the south, and a Trident missile submarine base to the north, and it's a no-fly zone at the beach because we have helicopters going back and forth all day. So we had to go down a couple of miles further down to a place called American Beach, where she brought her drone down there, and she wanted to get the sunrise. We went down at 6 a.m. And just absolutely amazing what these things can do. Just blew my mind. That's all I got. Back to you, Brent.
Not a class Bravo and Delta zones where you live.
That I don't know what the zones are. I just know.
Well, those are restricted zones for because the naval base there or the
Oh, okay.
military
Yeah.
base and the other stuff. Yeah.
Yep. I'm not surprised.
Pete, how stable is her drone in wind?
It wasn't super windy, but there was a good breeze, and it just sort of stays in. Somehow it's able to stay in one spot. I mean, really, it's like super stable. She had one incident when we went down to the beach where she was up about, I guess, around 100 feet, flying along the shoreline, looking out towards the horizon, and she has a control box. It's got 2 control sticks and a whole bunch of buttons, and she inadvertently canceled the home position, and the thing started heading out to sea. So she was able to turn it around and get it back over land, and then the battery went really low, and when that happens, it automatically lands itself.
Right.
So it came straight down, didn't hit anybody on the beach, and landed on the sand, and she ran over and got it. So everything ended okay, but that was a real I said,
$3,500 averted.
yeah. I said, why don't they put a little cover over that switch?
Yeah, or make sure they're waterproof.
Or, yeah.
Good luck with that.
Be interesting to see, especially up in the Asheville area. A lot of people need help looking at their roofs and
Oh yeah.
crazy stuff up there. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's fascinating, Pete. I have a tiny story to tell about a plane. I'll give you the very condensed version. Years ago, my son had a remote control plane, and he let his brother fly it, and it took off and went away beyond the range of its controller, so it disappeared, right? And after the storm, we were talking to this neighbor, and he he mentioned where he lived, and I mentioned that he was basically where our plane flew off. He's like, "Oh, I know where your plane is. It's up in a tree, over there." It's like, wow. It's like, after so many years, we know where it is.
Wow.
Gene?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention too, I forgot to say, to ask everybody if they got the blurb from the Southeast Linux Fest. Did everybody get the
How
email?
recent did it come in, Gene?
Just for me, just several days ago.
No, did not.
I didn't see it.
Okay, well, it's out there. If you maybe go to their website or something, they've got this was a call for speakers, I think. And so I don't know. Usually I think the fest is in June. I'm not sure about that. So don't quote me. And I have no memory left. So I don't remember any of the details, but you could probably find it at their website.
If we were a competently run group, I would forward such things around to the group. So if you could do so and just make sure it's in front of all our eyes, that'd be great.
Well, I'll try. I'm not sure, how well I'll do that. So no promises, but I'll see.
I'll keep an eye out. Thanks, Gene. Rusty.
He's muted.
You're muted. It's going to be one of those days.
I think he's more than muted.
The Jitsi gods do not smile. Oh, here he is.
He woke up.
Here, these, it's like the drone controls. Where are the controls when you need them? I'm thinking that there's a phenomenon, the drone is changing how we get a view of the world. And the camera then in our cell phones has already changed that. Like I recall during the Northern Lights opportunities in the past year, people would go out and photograph and see things on the cell phone photograph that you could not see by a normal camera or an old style camera or by the human eye. You required the cell phone camera, the digital camera, to render the energy of the light waves differently. And in the case of the zone, the drone, it's rendering the world from perspectives of, geometry that you normally don't get. So what have I been up to? I two projects that are ongoing. One is I'm learning how to operate a track hoe.
Uh-oh,
If you want to
here's
talk
trouble.
about if you want to talk about controls, which controls am I operating? And you reach for a lever and you think it's the lever. You can really get some strange things happening, and you need a wide berth of safety to. You need to be strapped into the seat, and you need to keep all other interactions away. So that's been a recent experience this week.
Yeah, Rusty, just don't hit the eject lever.
Yeah.
Be careful
Yeah,
of the house.
as long as that doesn't get levitated. My biggest ongoing struggle, I'm going to solve it by buying more memory and buying an SSD for an older laptop. But what did I mentioned this before in the round robins? I've learned that Vivaldi, a Chrome derivative, is too hungry for memory, and the whistle does not get blown. There is no programming in the Vivaldi algorithms to properly detect when energy when memory is getting too low, and it that's even with some, the add-ons have not solved it, and I can see it happening because I will watch top, and when the machine freezes up because it's interacting with the K-swap daemon, it's too late. Once that's happened, the combination of servicing the daemon and maybe it's just the segments of memory that are not being swapped in a timely fashion, but basically the application seems to be frozen, and then very often generates a zombie. And then, lo and behold, sometimes I will be using that browser, and up will pop. I'll notice that the snap daemon has come out of nowhere. Why? I have no idea what caused the snap daemon. You would think it would be inert and some way to programmatically have it turned off. Similarly, I've had other times when the update daemon that's provided for Ubuntu, the update daemon has, I guess it just depends on how many applications start asking for memory at a time when it is low. And so the upshot of all this is it strikes me that there's a missing part to the operating system for Ubuntu, Linux. Well, it would be a part of the OS tools. There really needs to be a clearinghouse that programmers can easily check into and really dynamically be forewarned when the application needs more memory, and the time when you go over the horizon into a black hole that's when it needs to take place, and it just seems to be a missing part of the, at least the Ubuntu environment. So we have a swap daemon that's on hand ready to do its thing, but it's just not optimized, and the only salvation is for the application, in this case the most hungry, which is a browser. It's got to be self-censored, and it must have some part of its programming modules to consult with the operating system and ask what the status of memory is, and to desist from doing an action when it gets. There needs to be a demilitarized zone, or some, how would I say, some purgatory, some zone where the browser is not going to execute without, in the case of Vivaldi, it's the hibernate. I will try to manually remember to hibernate other tabs when memory is getting low, and I can avert the disaster to some extent manually. But sure as the world, there's that next tab that you're going to, and you're embroiled in your interactions, you're surfing, and you forget to hibernate others before proceeding, and you're doomed. You there you have a frozen application. So I just recite all this, wondering if anyone is aware of this as not as a built-in tool of each application, nor not provided by the swap daemon, but something that operates as a clearinghouse for memory. I'll call it memory awareness, and therefore something that a given application, particularly one that's so guilty, that it might be more easy for that application to be informed and be more safe and efficient. Sorry for going on so long, but that's the world I've been living in.
Sounds like you need to look at your niceness settings in Linux and change those. Your browser's hogging. You're probably having too many tabs open, and then your browser is crashing on you before you realize it.
Yeah, I use tabs as holding areas, and there doesn't seem to be a programmed. There are things called memory savers in Vivaldi and in Chrome, but they seem to be using some sort of algorithm that isn't just an absolute. I would prefer something that just absolutely says hibernate, keep the tab, keep the information associated with the tab, but otherwise hibernate it completely when I move forward. And particularly, I'd love to have that based on the memory that is currently available in the operating system, one of the algorithms for retiring tabs seems to be based on time. And I don't want a time dependent algorithm. To me, if I'm ready to move forward, I want all of my precious memory available. I don't want some algorithm saying, well, that tab was used as recently as 15 minutes or so, so we must keep it live. There doesn't seem to be a pure memory-based algorithm, but there's usage or time history seems to be embedded in the thing that is called memory saver. This is probably not a problem except for older laptops, and it won't be a problem when my memory arrives. But it just strikes me that it's a deficiency. So that's it for me.
I'd have to say more RAM fixes a lot of things. I was struggling with my work laptop. It just seems like so many things were taking so many resources. When I got this thing, and I was fighting it, trying to like tame the resources, and I'm just like, just send me another RAM stick. And so I doubled my RAM, and it still wants to consume the vast majority of it because, you know, Microsoft, but it does work a lot better now. The problem with the virtual image manager went away. It's working now magically, and I don't know why. Maybe adding the first thing through the other method somehow fix something. I don't know, but it's working like a charm now. So whatever. Just doesn't want to work in the presentation. I think I've gone through everyone. Correct me if I'm wrong, but anyone have any final words?
Nope.
All right. Well, thanks, y'all. Dan, your presentation, is that something we can count on for next time, or do you want to get back?
Yeah, I would like to do a presentation on Casa OS. That's okay.
All right. Well, send me the little blurb, so when I send out the meeting invite, which I will not send to some random individual this time. I don't promise, but I'll try. Yeah, I'll include it. But thank you so much. Thanks all, and see you next time.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks, Brent.
Bye-bye.
Hey, everybody.
Bye now.